a remarkable Qur'an miracle hidden since Asrul Sa'adeh, now revealed in this era. An amazing side of the Qur'an, unique and easy to understand just by looking at it, is ready to impress you. The mysterious year mentioned in the Qur'an is also revealed through this miracle. A discovery that will surprise your imagination and make you wonder as you hear about it comes to light. When you learn how this miracle inspired Bedi-uz-Zaman, who said, "This is the century where Ukul has descended to the eye," you won't be able to hide your amazement. Even those who say, "I don't believe in what I cannot see," will be moved by the Qur'an's clear and undeniable miracles. If you're ready, inshallah, let's start uncovering the Qur'an's numbers and its hidden code. A miracle of the Qur'an beyond imagination. When people hear about the miracles of the Qur'an, their minds often jump to scientific miracles. The well-known verses such as, "We are expanding the heavens," or "We shall move the mountains." But the Qur'an challenges humanity with an even stronger argument, one that has stood the test of time for over 1400 years. The Qur'an boldly declares, "You cannot produce anything like this, not even one chapter, not even a single verse." This is its great challenge. Does this miracle of eloquence, known as balagha, apply only to Arabs or those fluent in Arabic? Can't we, who speak English or other languages, grasp it as well? Do those who don't know Arabic have no share in witnessing the Qur'an's eloquent miracle? Of course they do. In fact, there are such wonders within its eloquence that they can be understood and even seen without knowing any language. And this is what we'll explore in this video. But isn't balagha simply a form of literature? Not at all. What the Qur'an speaks of goes far beyond literature. Scholars like Bedi-uz-Zaman and others have explained that the concept of balagha encompasses 40 aspects. For example, its miraculous knowledge of the unseen is just one aspect. While we won't cover all 40 aspects today, we will, inshallah, discuss those we've come to understand. The unmatched structure of the Qur'an. The Qur'an has shown, particularly in our time, that neither its letters nor its words are random. Every single one is precisely where it should be. Each prophet was sent with miracles that resonated with the knowledge and interests of their era. For instance, Moses, peace be upon him, was given the miracle of his staff, which transformed into a great serpent, devouring the false snakes of the magicians. Isa, Jesus, peace be upon him, was granted miracles in medicine, as people of that era were deeply engaged in advancing medical knowledge. Similarly, during the time of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, eloquence, poetry, and the art of language were at their peak. Yet the Prophet, being Ummi, unable to read or write, had no connection to poetry or the literary arts. This made the miracle even more extraordinary. Imagine someone who could neither read nor write suddenly producing an unmatched text, neither pure poetry nor ordinary prose, but something entirely unique. The Prophet's words were not his own. They were directly revealed to him by Allah, and their unmatched style stunned everyone, including the masters of language at the time. Some poets refused to believe, but when they heard a verse from the Qur'an, they fell into prostration, overwhelmed by awe and admiration. This is the power of the Qur'an, a miracle that continues to astound hearts and minds to this day. The history of the Qur'an's compilation. As you know, the Qur'an began to be revealed in Mecca in 610 CE and continued for 23 years, being completed in Medina in 632 CE according to the lunar calendar. At the time, the Qur'an was preserved both in written form and through memorization, but it had not yet been compiled between two covers. This was because the Prophet, peace be upon him, was still alive, and revelation had not ceased. Each verse revealed to the Prophet was arranged in its current order under the guidance of Gabriel, peace be upon him, through divine instruction. When the Qur'an was completed and the Prophet passed away, the era of the Caliphate began. During the Caliphate of Abu Bakr, may Allah be pleased with him, the Battle of Yamamah took place. 70 Hafiz, memorizers of the Qur'an, were martyred in this battle. Following this, Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, approached Abu Bakr with a proposal. "We have lost many memorizers. I fear that parts of the Qur'an might be lost. Let us compile it into a single book, a mushaf, and gather it between two covers." At first, Abu Bakr hesitated, as this had not been done during the Prophet's time and seemed like an innovation. However, after some time, he said, "Allah, who softened Umar's heart on this matter, has also softened mine." Thus, Abu Bakr agreed to compile the Qur'an into a mushaf. With the Qur'an already written down by companions and fresh in their memories, it was compiled into a mushaf in the presence of knowledgeable companions. During the Caliphate of Umar, may Allah be pleased with him, major conquests took place, spreading Islam across vast regions, including Persia, Egypt, Mesopotamia, and parts of Anatolia. When Uthman, may Allah be pleased with him, became the third caliph, these conquests continued, and people from diverse regions, languages, and cultures embraced Islam. Among them were non-Arabs, referred to as Ajam by the Arabs. For these new Muslims, understanding and correctly reciting the Arabic Qur'an became a challenge. Mistakes began to emerge in reading. To address this, Uthman ordered two measures: adding diacritical marks, harakat, to the Qur'an to make reading easier for non-native speakers, producing multiple copies of the mushaf and distributing them to the Islamic centers across the growing empire, ensuring consistency in recitation. Uthman entrusted this task to Abul Aswad ad-Du'ali, a scholar who had studied Arabic grammar directly under Ali. May Allah be pleased with him. Initially, Abul Aswad declined, saying, "How can I add anything to the Qur'an that the Messenger of Allah did not?" However, an incident changed his mind. While in a mosque, Abul Aswad heard a non-Arab misread Surah At-Tawbah 9:3 due to the absence of diacritical marks. The mistake, though small in pronunciation, drastically altered the meaning, implying Allah is free from the disbelievers and, God forbid, his messenger. Abul Aswad immediately corrected him and realized the necessity of adding diacritical marks to preserve the correct recitation of the Qur'an. This effort ensured that Muslims worldwide could recite the Qur'an accurately, preserving its original meaning for generations to come. The development of the Qur'an's writing and the miracle of Ayat al-Hafa. The non-Arab who misread the verse apologized, saying, "I thought I was reading it correctly. I didn't realize it could have such a meaning. My Arabic is not very strong." This realization struck Abul Aswad, and he agreed, saying, "Yes, we must take measures on this matter." Thus, diacritical marks were added to the Qur'an, and copies were sent to the Islamic regions of the time. After this, the art of calligraphy emerged to beautify the writing of the Qur'an. Calligraphers dedicated themselves to this art, but since there were no standard guidelines that everyone adhered to, each calligrapher wrote the Qur'an in their own style. While the Qur'an consists of 604 pages, 114 surahs, 6,666 verses, variations arose. Some calligraphers wrote it in 12 lines per page, others in 13 lines, some in the current 15-line format, and others even in 23 lines. Differences in line numbers led to variations in page layouts and total page numbers. Manuscripts ranged from 300 pages to 900 pages. This diversity among calligraphers continued as the art of hat calligraphy evolved. The standardized Qur'ans we have today had not yet emerged. In the late 1800s, during the final years of the Ottoman Empire, Osman Nur, one of the famous calligraphers, approached the task with a new perspective. He said, "This time I will base my measurements on the Qur'an itself." Using the shortest surahs, Surah Al-Kawthar and Surah Al-Ikhlas, as references, he determined the line and page dimensions based on these measurements. The emergence of the Ayat al-Hafa, miracle. When Osman Nur completed his work, an extraordinary phenomenon became apparent. Unlike previous manuscripts, where verses often continued onto the next page, in his version, every page began and ended with a complete verse. No verse was left split between two pages. This phenomenon became known as the Ayat al-Hafa miracle. The verse at the margin miracle. This arrangement was quickly embraced across the Islamic world and spread to all Muslim lands. From that point onward, the Qur'ans we use today have been based on this standard. Yet, this miraculous arrangement was just the beginning of a much greater wonder yet to be explored. The discovery of the Tawāfuq miracle. In 1932, while Bedi-uz-Zaman Said Nursi was in Barla, he noticed something extraordinary while reading his handwritten Qur'an, written using Hafiz Osman Nuri Effendi's measurements. This discovery became known as the Tawāfuq miracle. What is Tawāfuq? Tawāfuq refers to two things, aligning or coinciding in a manner that suggests divine will, making it impossible to attribute to mere chance. It signifies a harmonious alignment that feels guided by a higher power. Bediüzzaman observed that certain words in the Qur'an appeared in striking patterns. For instance, the word Allah appears 2,806 times. The word Rabbi appears 846 times. The word Rasul appears 167 times. The word Qur'an appears 69 times. The word Rahim appears 220 times. These words were found aligned in various ways, stacked vertically on some pages, perfectly mirroring each other on opposing pages, or positioned back to back. This alignment revealed a hidden miracle of Tawāfuq in the Qur'an, as though the Qur'an itself was demonstrating its miraculous nature. The first Tawāfuq Qur'an. After discovering this, Bedi-uz-Zaman shared his findings and intentions with his students. He distributed the task of copying the Qur'an manually, assigning 3 juz to each of 10 students. He instructed them to adhere to the same measurements used in Hafiz Osman Nuri Effendi's Qur'an, while carefully maintaining the patterns of Tawāfuq. The students began writing and sending their completed sections to Bedi-uz-Zaman. Among these, his student Husrev's work stood out. When 2 of Husrev's sections reached him, Bedi-uz-Zaman remarked, "Brother, this task is yours. This Tawāfuq miracle is most evident in your handwriting. The others fall far behind. You are the lead scribe and the chief in this effort." With this encouragement, Husrev took on the responsibility of writing the Tawāfuq Qur'an. In the same year, 1932, Husrev completed the first handwritten copy of the Tawāfuq Qur'an and presented it to Bedi-uz-Zaman. This marked the creation of the first mushaf of Tawāfuq, a manuscript that continues to demonstrate the Qur'an's miraculous harmony through its unique alignment and patterns. Upon further examination of the Qur'an, it was observed that the word Allah, appearing 2,806 times, is consistently aligned vertically on certain pages. For example, on page 35, all instances of Allah are aligned as if a straight line was drawn from top to bottom, creating a perfect vertical alignment. Similarly, on page 181, the alignment is strikingly similar. On page 422, a unique Tawāfuq is observed. This page contains a verse beginning with Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, and includes the phrase, and remember Allah often. This page also stands out as the one with the highest number of occurrences of Allah in the Qur'an. This phenomenon cannot be attributed to chance or human design. Why? The reasons are clear. The reasons for revelation, timing, and context of the verses are entirely different. Some verses were revealed 20 years apart or more. The lengths and structures of the verses also vary significantly. Despite these differences, the occurrences of Allah align perfectly, showcasing another form of the Tawāfuq miracle. On some pages, the word Allah appears in different locations. However, when these pages are folded over one another, the words align perfectly. For instance, on pages 2 and 3, or pages 50 and 51, the occurrences of Allah are in the same position, directly overlapping when folded. On pages 82 and 83, there are 4 instances of Allah on the right side and 4 on the left, all aligned precisely in the same rows. Another form of Tawāfuq is seen in back-to-back alignment. On pages 33 and 34, the word Allah appears back-to-back on the same line and position. Similarly, on pages 460 and 464, the words Allah align perfectly back-to-back, down to the millimeter. The word Rab, appearing 846 times, exhibits a similar alignment. For example, on page 48, all occurrences of Rab are vertically aligned. Other divine names, such as Rahman and words like Qur'an, which appears 69 times, also demonstrate Tawāfuq. For instance, on page 309, the occurrences of Rahman are aligned. On pages 289 and 290, the word Qur'an aligns perfectly when the pages are folded over. Prophetic names also display patterns of Tawāfuq. On page 19, the name Ibrahim appears 3 times, aligned vertically. On page 235, the name Yusuf, peace be upon him, is similarly aligned. On page 327, the names Dawood, David, and Suleiman, Solomon, align perfectly. On page 449, the names Ishaq, Isaac, Musa, Moses, and Harun, Aaron, are aligned vertically. There are also semantic Tawāfuq patterns, where the meanings of words align in remarkable ways. For example, on pages 235 and 236, the position of Yusuf, peace be upon him, his name aligns directly with the word simil, beautiful, on the opposite page, creating a meaningful connection. This intricate harmony within the Qur'an showcases the divine precision and miraculous nature of its composition, leaving no room for doubt about its authenticity and divine origin. In 1932, while examining a handwritten Qur'an prepared in Husrev's script, Bediüzzaman Sayyid Nursi noticed the Tawāfuq miracle in remarkable detail. For example, the word Samil, meaning beautiful, aligns perfectly with the name Yusuf, peace be upon him, on certain pages. This is particularly significant because Yusuf is renowned among prophets for his extraordinary beauty. On page 245, 2 occurrences of Yusuf's name are aligned vertically from bottom to top, Continuing the upward line, they coincide precisely with the word Aziz, a title Yusuf, peace be upon him, earned when he was elevated to a high position in Egypt after being freed from prison. The Qur'an recounts the story of the companions of the cave, Ashab al-Kahf, including their faithful dog, Qitmir, who slept at the entrance of the cave. Although the dog's name is not mentioned in the Qur'an, historical Islamic sources identify it as Qitmir. The Qur'an refers to the dog as kelbuhum, their dog. Interestingly, the word Qitmir appears in the Qur'an only once, on page 435, used in a completely different context to mean the skin or membrane of a fruit. If you mark the word kelbuhum on page 294, it aligns perfectly with Qitmir on page 435, exactly 141 pages apart, demonstrating another form of Tawāfuq. Another fascinating discovery by Bediüz-Zaman involved the use of ebjad, a traditional method of assigning numerical values to Arabic letters to derive meanings or dates. For the word Qur'an, the ebjad calculation is as follows: Qaf 100, Ra 200, Alif 1, prolonged Alif 1000, Nun 50. The total is 1351, which corresponds to the year 1351 in the Hijri calendar, equivalent to 1932 CE, the year Bediüz-Zaman discovered the Tawāfuq miracle. Bediüz-Zaman stated, "The Prophet, peace be upon him, performed miracles, and the Qur'an itself has miracles. The writing of the Qur'an with this alignment and Tawāfuq is one of the great miracles of the Qur'an observed in this era." This discovery was made during a challenging period in Turkey's history. Westernization efforts targeted Islamic traditions, banning Quranic schools, closing madrasas, and attacking Quranic script. Amid this environment, the Tawāfuq miracle emerged, visually proving the divine origin of the Qur'an to those who claimed, "I do not believe what I cannot see." Throughout his life, Bediüz-Zaman worked to reveal the Qur'an's miracles and served the cause of Ijaz al-Qur'an, the inimitability of the Qur'an. He concluded, "This miraculous nature proves that the Qur'an is the word of Allah, not of any human. This Tawāfuq miracle cannot be attributed to chance or human intellect. It is evidence that the Qur'an is a speech from the unseen." May Allah be pleased with Bediüz-Zaman Said Nursi, who passed away at the age of 84 after a life of hardship, much of it spent in prisons. We also remember with respect and mercy his companions who endured suffering alongside him. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, share, and comment to help us spread this miracle of the Qur'an to the world. Those who contribute to good causes share in their reward. May Allah accept your efforts. Ameen.